Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. We're about to start the proceedings of the day. We're here for a very exciting moment. It's a showcase of a very exciting project. It's the Mixtape Memories project, which we're going to hear a bit more about in a second when I introduce some people who know more about it. Let me introduce myself first and foremost. So my name is Akshay Sharma, said in a real Indian twang. People call me Shay, however. My artist name is Mr. Shay, and I am a rapper, a poet, and a beatboxer. I do music, basically, and creative writing in Leicester. So a lot of my work is about engaging members of the community. That's where the heart of my work is, whether they're young people, children, babies, to adults, the whole kind of spectrum of engagement. And during this project, we got to do a lot of engagement with some very special people in this room here today, and we're going to tell you a bit about that, and we're going to share a project that we've been working on. So first and foremost, I'd like to introduce from Loughborough University, Emily. So could you make some noise for Emily, please? So could you just tell us a little bit about the project and kind of where it came from and why we're here?
I certainly can. Oh, right.
Sorry. And
Heidi, I've come with a +1. This has been an amazing project, but it's actually part of a much bigger programme of work called the Migrant Memory and Post-Colonial Imagination Project, which is a massive mouthful, so we just...
So I'll let you say it.
MMPI. The MMPI project is a 5-year project which got funded by the Leave Human Trust, so thank you, Leave Human Trust. And they gave us the money to hire some wonderful people like Jasmine and Paul and some other colleagues to explore the reasons why some of the most significant moments in South Asian history, which are so integrally part of British history as well, don't really form part of the public imagination in the UK and have been largely ignored. And the first thing that we were really interested in was thinking about the 1947 partition. The project started around the 70th anniversary, and we were really interested in why it wasn't a major discussion point in British popular culture. I think that's changed a little bit since the project started, actually, since 2017. But what we were interested in wasn't really about what's in the mass media. We were interested in the ways in which memory gets handed on, gets communicated, gets mobilised, gets used, and forms part of people's identity in their everyday lives, and why these pasts are important, not as a kind of faraway history, but part of who people are now, today. And to think about the ways in which memory actually works, the ways it travels, the way it connects us, the ways it forms communities and shapes communities. And that's really what the project's been all about. And we've gone a long way, I think, from just exploring partition to think about the ways in which people's pasts, the ways in which they've travelled from place to place, the ways in which they've made homes, multiple homes, the way they connect across generations, has been done, and the ways in which they use different forms of culture to do that. This project has focused on music, and music has been such a profoundly important part of the whole project, looking at the way music is important for sharing pasts, for connecting between different pasts, and for people to think about their relationship with each other and communicate with each other. So I'm absolutely delighted that Shay worked with us on this. It's been so exciting, and I am really excited to sit here with you all and watch the film. So thank you to everybody in the room for coming today, but also special thanks to the people that participated in this project. It's been really, really special, and we're delighted. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. I'd like to also introduce, obviously, the core team over here. We have Jasmine and Paul, who have just kind of been amazing as part of this project and have brought us in, inspired myself to the artistic side. But maybe a few words from yourselves first.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone, for coming. So we're just going to do a short introduction before we get into everything else. So just to say, pick up from what Emily was saying, that music is powerful in its ability to evoke personal memories and memories of migration, home, family life, and historical events. Our lives are accompanied by soundtracks that invoke memories and emotions, with musical sound or song transporting us to a past time or place. Music can be potent in its evocation of situated experiences by organising collective memories and presenting experiences of place. And in the context of migration and diaspora, connecting homelands and here in an intricate network of sound. Music can bridge generations across time and can connect individuals to the collective through both memories and the meanings that are associated with and transmitted through sound. As Fukuda Qureshi points out, the physical sensation of sound not only activates feeling, it also activates links with others who feel. In an instant, the sound of music can create bonds of shared responses that are as deep and intimate as they are broad and universal. Similarly, musical sound can trigger memories both within and between individuals and groups, and as Tia Denora says, can be used as a device for the reflective process of remembering or constructing who one is. So it's a technology for spinning the apparently continuous tale of who one is. As music is so powerful in evoking both personal and collective memories, emotions, and constructing identities, the MMPI project wanted to focus on music in our creative community activities. So in the course of our fieldwork, participants spoke about the importance of music in relation to memory and using music as a bridge between generations and between communities. And we've seen this at events like the Loughborough Mela, Diwali festivities, community meetings, and in devotional practices as well. And this importantly highlights that not only is music a vital means of communication, it's also something we communicate about through shared listening, exchange of songs, and talking about music. So we were part of lively discussions about favourite songs and songs that evoke memories of childhoods in India, East Africa, and the UK. So considering all of this, we went on to organise the Mixtape Memories project to creatively focus on music, sound, and lyrics as well. And the aims of the project were to collaboratively explore ideas of home and experiences of inclusion, exclusion, and in-betweenness through music and sound. We wanted to use the creative process as a vehicle to both unpick issues of complex identities and to recall the various pasts that shape these identities, such as personal, family, and cultural memories of migration and partition. So Hesmond's Hall says that music can heighten people's awareness of continuity and development in life. It seems powerfully linked to memory, perhaps because it combines the different ways of remembering. And we have seen that throughout this project, remembering takes place in, around, and through music in the form of language, sound, narration, imagery, filmmaking, and dance.
Excellent. Thank you, and thanks all for being here. So just to tell you a little bit about the project itself, it took place in August 2021, despite some COVID delays. So we had a few problems with that, I suppose. But there was 2 workshops that took place in Leicester in person at Pedestrian, and then a couple of workshops that took place online. And if I'll just go back one slide, you can see that's part of the Mixtape Memories workshop that took place online. So these brought in creative writing activities which were used to evoke and creatively express memories of partition and migration, and to reflect on identity and belonging for all of our participants, the people who have made new lives in this country, and obviously subsequently the people who have been brought up in this country as diaspora. So the project culminated in the production of a music video which featured our participants' stories in the final track. So during the online workshop, we also curated a Mixtape Memories playlist, which is the one that you can find on Spotify, which includes Bollywood hits that evoked memories of childhoods in East Africa and the UK, devotional bhajans that were imprinted in family memories, memories of historical events, and Bhangra tracks that triggered personal memories of time spent with families and friends. And the discussions around these tracks gave rise to the telling of amazing life stories, where the memory of a certain song allows access to connect to complex lives and paths of relatives and loved ones whose migrations, both historic and recent, become so important in understanding our contemporary identification and our place and our being and our belonging in the space in which we live in the present. So with the energy and expertise of Shay guiding our participants through the workshops, these stories developed over the couple of days into a fully formed song. And one of the sonic starting points for that work was thinking about sounds which triggered memory. Not musical sounds per se, but what they call musique concrète, so sounds of everyday life. And some of those where we talked about talking, laughing, people telling stories, background TV, and other household objects. But the thing that kept coming up over and over again with sounds of the kitchen. So some of the sounds that we replicated were crushing of jeera in a pestle and mortar, using a rolling pin to roll chapati, smashing a garlic bulb, stirring tea. And the tea is quite interesting. It reminds me of a quote from Professor Stuart Hall when he talks about identity, and he says, we are like the sugar at the bottom of the English teacup, which is always quite interesting, I think. And then he goes on to say they don't grow tea in Lancashire, you know, which is obviously true. So using the recordings of these sounds, we started, or Shay started to put together a rhythmic basis which formed the track. And then we went on to record the amazing musical talents of Kate, first of all, with the piano chords, melody. Kirit, who was playing flute and some percussion, and Shivan, who brought us an amazing violin melodic line. So throughout that process, we were constantly discussing themes of migration, identity, and more specific biographical stories and reflections on partition. And this gave us a wealth of material to use as a creative catalyst, which our fantastic participants then used to beautifully write poetry and lyrics that went alongside this amazing music that we were creating. So again, guided by Shay's experience in crafting these poetic, creative writing spaces, this writing covered ideas around around resilience of people who migrated, the process of resettling, feelings of uprootedness, and the importance of the mother tongue, loss or perceptions of loss. Cultural maintenance kept coming up quite often, I think, through them discussions as well. Cultural resilience, humanness, intergenerational dialogues, belonging and community. You can see these were really deep and interesting and rich conversations. So I'd just like to say, really, you're going to hear all that in the song. And those things come through the song. And I think it was a really brilliant process. And I just want to say a big thanks to the bravery and the engagement of all our participants who gave so much to the project. And without that, I don't think we could have got to where we've got to today. So a massive, massive vote of gratitude from us to them. I also just want to say also a big thank you to Rob as well, who brought together the final film, who kind of came in afterwards. And really what happened was, you know, throughout the process of recording the track, I was like, wow, this is amazing, pretty much blown away. And that was surpassed really, or at least the cherry on top of making the music video, which was partly filmed in Bradgate Park on a freezing day, where everybody apparently nearly got blown away. I was lucky because I didn't get to go to that one. And then the other part, which was filmed in the Botanical Gardens. And that was a nice day. We had a right nice time. We had a little picnic and it was lovely. So, and I would just say that the film really wonderfully connects personal and powerful images to this bravely poetic musical expression of these far-reaching memories of migration. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul and Jasmine. Yeah. I think they've rounded up very, very well, and in a lot of detail that hopefully you've been kind of introduced and felt like you were part of that process there. So you know what the process was, you know what the journey was from those two descriptions. I'd just like to introduce one more person really quickly, and that is Shirley from Charnwood Arts, who was a really big part of our project, a really big part of our project, and actually was there on day 2 of filming as well. Would you like to share anything, Shirley? Round of applause for Shirley. Yeah.
Please, get nervous sing it. You'll be glad to know my wedding speech was 8 pages long. I've just got it.
So can we move you?
So yeah, you can. Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Just need to shut.
We're streaming.
Perfect.
Get my good side.
Thank you.
I don't want to kind of dwell on too much because I think it's already been said what you know, how amazing this project is, and the description of how it's happened and everything has just been brilliant. So I'm going to miss out a lot of what I put. So the project was the first one really that I got to get my teeth into as the new CEO at Charnwood Arts. So that's nearly 2 years ago. I think it's 2 years ago in June. Emily and Jasmine from the university contacted me to say that the partition project needed to draw to a conclusion, and they got a little bit of funding to help do that. So for me, as a new CEO, I thought, wow, well, what could we do? My background is in music, and using music really and soundscapes, I suppose, to communicate. You're right, it's a powerful thing. Music is a powerful thing. So obviously that was the first thing that came into my head. I understand Charnwood Arts have been part of this project for many years, so I started to do a bit of research in our archives to see what was in there and try and get a feel for it. And it just seemed the right thing, which was to suggest to do a music project. I kind of then thought, well, how do we get going? Who do we get involved in this? Again, I'm not from Loughborough. I actually live in Newark, but I didn't know many local people who I could approach to see who we could get involved. So I did a bit of Googling. Am I the only one that does that? And I came across Jitten from Inspirate. So I contacted Jitten. It's a shame he's not here, really. Just put this idea out to him. This is what we want it to look like. This is what we need it to say. I'm not going to go over it all again because we've just said all of that. And we need some musicians to do it. He said, I know just the man. He went, Mr. Shea. And I thought that makes me feel really old calling somebody Mr. Shea. We'll forget that one. Anyway, so really the rest is history. So because it grew out of that Zoom conversation, because of course we were all having to be on Zoom then with Jasmine and with Emily and then Jitten and then obviously Mr. Shea there. And it was lovely to be in the company where people kind of got what I was trying to convey and what the use of sound and the use of music and visuals particularly. I love the film. It's a masterpiece, I think. Anyway, I won't get into that bit now. I'm just going to finish by saying I'm really proud of this project, and I'm proud of where it's taken us. And having attended one of the filming days, the warm one, I was moved by the commitment of everybody involved. I really was. Just being there, part of it, kind of tagging in, seeing everybody was there, and the beautiful, the materials that you're on, it's just gorgeous. We're going to get to see all that again. Musical is a powerful tool. And visuals with spoken words from those who know, and that's important, from those who know is truly inspirational. Following the success of this project, I'd like to pursue further funding to create a whole album. I think it deserves an album. And we have the perfect example to back that application up. So watch this space. My sincere thanks to everyone involved, and would like to invite any of the participants to come and talk to me about developing their own practice, because you are artists. You are artists, and clearly. My sincere thanks to all of you, Jitten, Mr. Shea, Emily, Paul, and Jasmine, and you, the participants, for your commitment, honesty, and willingness to share your experiences in this wonderful piece of work, Unexpected Mountains. So enjoy, and thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now you've heard from the staff team, you've heard from Shirley, Jasmine, Paul, Emily, Rob, who are there doing their thing behind the scenes. Speaking of behind the scenes, that's the first thing that we're going to share with you. We're going to share with you a behind the scenes little film that Rob shot from our workshop days, our workshop process. I believe it includes some of the online side of things as well. So in person, in pedestrian, and online. So a bit of an insight from, it's a visual side of what Paul and Jasmine were describing. So here we go. Oh, sorry. Remix.
Sorry, got a bit of buzzing as well.
गायन गवाय क्या थी गावनी कहो existed, but never did you think you would have to climb at such a young age.
The project that we run is looking at Indian partition, or memories of Indian partition, and we've been running this project since 2017, which was the 70th anniversary of the partition. One of the big things that keeps coming up within the project and keeps coming up over the last 5 years has been music. We always keep coming back to music, and people talking about music and the memories that they have because of the songs that we listen to.
The way the music underscores different parts of your life is such an important thing, and that's something that we're going to look at in here, and how we can how certain music pieces evoke certain memories.
Your dad talking about coming here, and I'm thinking about me coming here. And the very first day when I was homeless, and I had to find a place to live, and then to start all over again, start everything.
Coming to a completely alien part of the world, and then of course raising kids from a generation that didn't have that experience and are very much cultured in a Western sort of mindset,
Yeah.
and where the clashes and where the sort of like good things like that come out.
Coming here in different culture, I think basic is language. If you lose your mother tongue, you lose your culture. But I still believe in a human being. Is a good human always survive to any situation, provided they understand themselves first.
That is a track that I really love. The musicality of it, the tabla, the thump, the tumri, the sarangi, and the sounds just remind me of classical Punjab, Mitti. And I think the folk element, it's something that I resonate with so much. It just reminds me of home.
My dad and my mama, when they get together, this is the one person they play him like Jack, and this song, for some reason, it just resonates with that in that sense. I'd say when I was about 4 or 5 years old, I got introduced to this song by my dad, and he played the video. Then he goes, "Oh, look at it again," and then he showed me that him and all his mates were actually in the music video.
Yes.
The two sisters, one was called Surinder Kaur and Prakash Kaur, were the two sisters. Really fundamental icons in the Bhangra world.
As soon as we played that, you hear everyone singing along. It's like it was everyone, not only the older generation that knew, it was like my current generation as well.
When we come to lyrical content and writing, that will be our pool to pick from. We try to do it.
How did I keep going? People ask. Well, my traditional cultural upbringing gave me the strength and focus to get through life's unexpected challenges. At times, having to let go the past of hurt, of loneliness, my resilience.
Memories, uprooting from the land called home, putting the first foot forward, step on the land, the fragments of gold, only to find another.
In the partition, it's all a madness. Two communities on breaking into sadness. All this bit of tension. At the vagabond, no 1080p. Old school, take a roller. Old school, the beat. To feel our vibes. Bang a little garden out. Yo, watch me describe. G the garden sizzling. In our pots and pans, repping our heritage. In any way that we can. See, look at our parents who immigrated from abroad. With the old damn handouts, yo, some unique or Lord. Came to this country with a £20 note. No decent up, but they couldn't afford the winter cold. But who get up? They have to look at in the corner. No negative vibes, forget social get up.
Thank you. Yes. a visual insight into what we got up to. It's all good hearing about it, but seeing it, and that's why we've got to love the format of video. So thank you, Rob, for filming that and giving us that visual kind of peek hole into what we got up to. So there you go. Now that we're prepped up, we were going to play the online workshop track. We heard a little bit of it there, quite a lot of it there. Should we play the full track, or should we play that at the end, or should we? Yeah, you got a little bit of a taste. I'm saying taste. I didn't choose those words actually, but yeah, it makes sense because we looked at food quite a lot. That was a big theme throughout it. But we will play that the track that was made online as well. You heard a little bit of it there, and it's got a lot of bass. It's a bit more kind of an urban take. So we had two contrasting outcomes in terms of the music that was created. But what we're going to do next up is something very exciting. We're going to bring out our artists, and we're going to have a little, before we even play the music video. That's the exciting part. We're going to keep you here on the edge of your seats. We're going to get the artists in. And we are calling them artists, not participants, because, thank you, Shirley, they are artists and they have a lot of creativity to offer as well. So we're going to hear about that creativity. We're going to hear about the experience of our artists / participants. And we're going to invite them up and we're going to have a little bit of a chat. Is that cool? Yeah. All right. So I'd like to invite, I think I'll sit here. And I'd like to invite, we have Usha Auntie, we have Hansa Auntie, we have Shivan Mai, we have Indi Benji. Would you all like to come through and take a seat? What we're going to do is we're going to continue that round of applause as they come down. Yeah. Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat. Everyone, yeah, it's everyone. Obviously, we also had we had a few more participants online as well. However, they're unable to make it, and of course we had Jitin as well, who kind of was the backbone behind the creative element, alongside myself. Unfortunately, can't make it as well. But we have the core group here. So we're just going to open up to a little roundtable discussion. We're going to have a little bit of a chat, and yeah, we just want to share some reflections. We'll keep an eye on the time so we get. Oh, that's perfect. Keep an eye on the time so we can stick. We've got 20 minutes to have a bit of a chat about your experiences, your reflections, how it went as a journey for you guys. Because I'm guessing, just give me an indication by nodding. Was it your first time making a music track like this or being in a project like this? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So we can safely say it was a brand new experience for everybody. And actually, you got to experience what it was like to be Hollywood stars, essentially. They all looked amazing. They all came out in there with props. You know, they thought about everything that they were going to bring to the plate when creating the music video, looking as glamorous as they do today as well. And it was just such an amazing experience for me. But what was it like for you guys? So I want to open up with the first question. And the first question we'd like to explore is, has participating in this project changed the way you think or reflect on yours or your family's journey from their place of birth to living in the UK? So has it changed the way you reflect or think about yours or your family's journeys from their place of birth to the UK? So let's start off this side. Let's start off with Shivan. So yeah, talk to me about that, your response.
Cool, yeah. So for me, I would say before this project, I had relatively little time connecting to my culture. And because of this, I've managed to have a level of reconnection that I didn't really expect in recent times. And that's been really exciting.
Amazing. All right, thank you so much. We'll keep you this way. So Hansaji, so yeah, about reflecting on your journey, that would be in this case from your place of. So talk to us about your place of birth for everybody to living here. Where was that?
I was born in Mombasa, Kenya. So yeah, I think workshop made me think about the journeys, and the things that I've forgotten. As I said in the clip, like the first day you come here and you have such aspirations. You have heard so much about this country, and you think it's all made of gold, and the pavements are gold, and God knows what else. You heard about. And you come here and you see the difference is such a difference, and it just brings you down. And I think my experience, I never reflected that I actually was I was homeless on the very day I landed here, and I had to find a place to live. So my brother, who was here before me, and frantically going around looking for a bed seat where I could stay for that night, and so on. And I'd not thought about it. I'd forgotten about it, in the humdrum of this next 50 years of life here, and just wiped that out. And I think talking about it, that just brought it back. And it was good because then you share it with your family members so they realize what it's like, because my children have grown in relative comfort, if I say. And so they don't quite know how it is to start with something where you haven't got even enough money to buy a house or to put a deposit. Because everybody keeps telling you, because I'm thinking, I buy a house just the same as I had one in Kenya. And you realize, no, you have to have some deposit. Where is the money coming from? So all of those things. And of course, you'd never translated it to your children. So this kind of things help you to start talking. And I think one of the nicest outcomes was when I was talking to my daughter, and she suddenly said, do you know what? I need to listen to your stories and your brother's stories. So she actually set up a monthly thing online so that all of my brothers, my brothers and sisters, have a chance to talk about what it was like to settle in this country, and the younger ones sitting and listening. So thanks for that.
That's
so
amazing.
What it started. Yes.
Oh, thank you. That's a lovely response, and the fact that you created something to like live on a monthly kind of schedule. That's really lovely. And I guess I completely get that. And when you do it, when you end up in a country, when you're here back in the day, you do your thing, you just get on with it. That's the point. You get on with it. You don't really think about it. It's something you have to do.
Yes.
So it's just part of your everyday. But that was for you, part of your everyday. For us, of course, like the younger generation, not part of our everyday at all. So actually, for us to learn about it is so valuable. So thank you for having the want to share that. So amazing. So yeah, we're gonna move on to Ushanti. Talk to us a little bit about your reflections and how this project might have changed your reflections on your journey.
Right. When I was lucky in that sense, when I came to this country, for me, new place, new people, everything. But I was lucky. My side of the family and my husband's side, they were already here. So, but the reason I had to leave, when coup happened, my parents were there, but they came. I was in Kenya at the time. My reason coming to this country was because my husband was dying. So he had 6 months to live, so I had to come to this country. Sorry.
Okay. Take your time.
So right now I'm okay. With two little children, my son and my daughter.
Take your time. We're here with you.
It's okay, I'm okay. For me, as if how am I going to survive?
It's okay.
I had a beautiful family, my side of the family, husband's side of the family. But for me, I thought it was the end of the world for me. But as I said, time heals. But I got a lot of support from both sides of the family. And because I thought, how am I going to manage life? How am I going to bring up these two kids on my own? Never thought about myself. But that's how my journey started. But here I am, and that's, like you said, I wrote it down. Obviously, sorry, cannot do
Absolutely fine. Absolutely. We'll come back to you 100%. But just on what you've just said, I know it's a very, very...
I didn't realize I get so emotional.
It's okay. This is what happens. Certain emotions will just come up, and I think this is the whole point of this project. It's about reflecting in ways that maybe we haven't in front of people that we've never reflected in front of before.
Yeah, because life journey wasn't that easy for me.
For sure.
I mean, it was very, very tough journey. Although I had support and everything, but it wasn't that easy. And I was only 34 years old, so not even mature enough. Let's put it that way, and with 2 children,
Shanti, I think you're a perfect example of what you said. It was resilience. So the key word that we followed was resilience, and that's something that we went down lyrically. I just want to say that your beautiful children are here today.
Yes, I was here with the family.
Here during the shoot as well, so you've done an amazing job as well. So round of applause for making it through. Thank you for having the courage to be up here and share those experiences. We'll come back anyway. We'll do another round. Thank you. So let's open it up to Indiji. How are you? I love the energy that you brought throughout the whole process, the positivity, even like after the project was finished. We can promote like this, we can promote like that, getting radio interviews on, and you're basically part of the team. The marketing was. So yeah, I mean, you come from a Punjabi background. I know we had a nice little link there with the Punjabi lingo. So we've got Gujarati background over here, the first three, and we had a mixture of Gujarati and Punjabi stories and heritage. For me, I was brought up hearing about the Punjabi side and how my grandparents, my dad's parents, they were from Pakistan, Lahore, well, when it was still part of India, and then, the partition happened, which affected them directly, so that was only 3 generations ago. So I'd hear about that and their journey, and previously to the project, interviewing my dad about, the Punjabi side of things. So, that's my angle. So it was nice to have somebody who could share from that side of things. So what was your experience in how this project changed when you reflect on that journey?
I think from the first day when we did the first, because it was over 2 days, the workshop. From the first day, after the workshops were finished, I went to see my mum, and I asked her certain questions that I'd never asked her before. Dad, bless his soul, was always very vocal and was always, on many occasions sharing his journey of the rucksack, 1 set of clothes, about £3 change in his pocket when he came over, an address of somebody in Luton that he had that was a friend of a friend, But I never really Mum had never really spoke about her journey. So I asked her, I says, Mum, what about your journey? And I didn't know till that particular day that she came over on an aeroplane by herself at the age of 15. I mean, my mum's a phenomenal woman, very, very strong and grounded. But I've got my son here who's 11, and I was thinking, that's like him boarding a plane on his own in 4 years' time. I barely let him cross the road by himself. Bless him, he's like, Mom. But so then I started asking more questions. So without sort of digressing and taking up too much time, because I could sit here all evening. I think, yes, the workshop opened up questions, my curiosity more. Whereas, you kind of heard Dad saying, God bless his soul, what he shared his stuff without sort of being prompted and asked. And whereas now I was asking Mum the questions, well, okay, what was it like? How did you come over? Why did you come over? And what did you do when you got here? Asking all those questions. So, and those questions still continue now. When I go and visit her and stay with her, I'll carry on asking those questions. And I think it's made me realise now that what courage and using the word, some of the words that's in the poetry as well is resilience. And I'm gonna put my hand up straight and just say that generation is cut from a different cloth. You're asking me to go visit a different country, and I'm just like, and that's just visiting. Never mind packing, packing one bag and off you go. So, I've got so much respect and admiration for that generation, and we can learn so much from them.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's give that a round of applause.
Just wanted to say that it's also made us aware, some of us who had done the first journey, we just got on with life and just carried on and just completely forgot, or not forgot, but put a lid on that experience and made it realize how important it is to actually talk about it and share that. And and I think that this project just brought that forward, in that sort of sense.
Definitely. Yeah, just believe it brought it back to the forefront, and rather than a conversation about an older generation, somebody from the older generation saying, "Oh, back in my day, it's more, it's deeper than back in my day." It's, okay, tell me about that. Let's talk about that. So yeah, amazing. Oshanti, did you want to add something?
No, because I wrote it down and I'm ready to read it now.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Would you like to? You can absolutely read from it if you would like to. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, take us through it.
Right. What I've written is participating in this project has definitely changed my way of thinking. It gave me a new platform to write creatively around the stories and challenges and joys of my life journey in moving from Uganda to the UK. It allowed me to reflect differently about my journey and also stretch my ability to write my story in such a short, concise approach and capturing how I managed to get through unexpected challenges, obstacles, situations with courage. It certainly made me confident about talking about this. The fact that I have the privilege of standing here in front of you as an audience is a testament to this.
That's amazing. Thank you. So we're going to move to, you've covered quite a lot of the questions in terms of your responses there. You kind of covered how the impact of the project itself, what the impact was on you in terms of talking further to your family members, to, or to younger members or older members, learning or educating. You talked about it made you want to, talk more about it more openly, open the conversations a little bit more and take it to the forefront. So the next question is all about the actual process. So we were in such a mixture of generations within our project itself. So from the maybe like a third generation. So I come from a third generation. I am the third generation British Asian in my family. My father, third generation, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I count as the third. My father is the first. My father came over from Punjab. My mom was born here. So actually, I'm second generation, and thank you. And my grandparents came from Africa, not Uganda, however, it was Kenya, Nairobi. So we've got quite a mixture of things that we can learn from each other, from the Kenya, Nairobi side of things, from the Punjabiness, that side of things, but then also the young generation kind of thing. So there's such a mixture and loads of overlaps that happen between the generations and the different cultures. So I want to just quickly start with Shivan. What was it like to be in a mixture of generations at different ages talking about this one topic with such a variety of experiences? How was it for you?
It was amazing. It was the first time in my life I've been able to have such frank and open discussion with Indian elders, and that was the most exciting part. To be able to uncover things that are usually kept very deep. That was really exciting. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you.
For me, I think we're also missing Kerry here.
Of course,
he was also part and parcel of this process as my husband, and he comes from directly from India. So he was bringing in a different kind of experiences from me, who was coming from Africa, and my parents were also born in Africa. So it was quite a difference, and that mixture was good. Living with the person, but you still don't talk about those kind of things, and that's the amazing thing. Because it was during that session that he started talking about it. Because initially, he didn't want to even join the group, if you remember. He was sitting outside the group because he was just coming to drop me and just going off. But he stayed on, and that was quite enriching. And I think for me, I had I had children of your age, so that was like talking to them was kind of, yeah, you're just seeing that side of it. You know, when you see your children talking, you always see them with certain colors as well, because you formed your opinions about your children, and so whatever they say is with through those filters.
Sure, sure.
And then listening to these guys with with no baggage for me, it was quite interesting. It was very, and I think it was really nice talking to you. And I think the energy, for me, I think the energy that you guys produced was just amazing. There were other younger people who were not here today, and it was just amazing to just hear them, listen to them, and then for them to listen to our stories and to listen to how it was and how we started, and some of the stark racism that we faced, face-to-face racism, and all of that. We were able to talk about it, whilst for them it's quite different. It's a differently manifested to how it was manifested for us. So that was quite, and I think those kind of exchanges were, I remember going home buzzing. That's what I could say.
That's fantastic. Anthony, I love the way you articulate that so well. Even the fact that you're talking about colours and the filters, and it's so poetic. You're like a born poet. Like, you have to do poetry.
Yeah.
It's amazing to hear you speak, so thank you. So we're talking about the mixture of generations, and feel free to read a response that you may have written, but about the mixture of generations, and what it was like to share with younger people as well.
Yeah, it was an amazing experience. I love sharing the memories of my life journey, about my childhood and some of my memorable experiences. I equally love to hear the stories of other participants who came from different countries and had such varied experiences. As the going says, you're never too old to learn, and I still continue to learn from other people. For me, it was an amazing experience. I mean, I want to thank Hansa to dragging you along in this project, and learned a lot. Like you said, you're never old,
Of course, and the fact that it's a two-way process, isn't it? I love the fact that you touched upon that. It's a two-way process. You know, we're not here to we're never here to only educate. We're always here to learn as well. It's a reciprocal process, and I think this is a lovely example of that. You know, us talking to each other and sharing our experiences. So yeah, lovely. And Benji, we're going to come to you now. What was your experience like? You know, with the different generations in the same room.
I think personally, personal experiences from real people who have had those journeys, we need more of it. It's all right picking up a book, it's all right watching a documentary that's on TV, but I think the real conversations and the real journeys that these people have had, it was just a very different experience. And sharing that and you know, so your dad went through something similar to my dad, you know, even though dad talked about it, or Flan, I did this and such, you know, we did. But, you know, to be in the room, and I mean, I always did it via Zoom, but to be able to share those experiences, it was a very different energy. I brought my children with me today because I want them as a future generation, you know, to be able to understand what their grandparents, you know, their journey and other people's grandparents' journey. They might not take it on board now. They're probably like thinking, Mum's dragging us along. But I'm hoping it will have that ripple effect that in years to come they'll think, okay, that's why Mum took us there.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So I personally feel that there should be more of these kind of events, more of these workshops where there's real people talking about their real experiences and their journeys.
Fantastic. I'd like to thank you for bringing your children along, and I know they came during the shoot as well to see what you're getting up to, like my Bollywood mother, like what you're doing, looking all suave and that. So that was really lovely of you. And just encouraging the younger generation to come in, because I second your point. When I was younger, my mum and dad used to take me to Punjabi class at the local Gurdwara, and I was like, this is dead. This is dead. And it was like, I just wanted to go home. Like that was my first thing. I only go there for like the prashad, which is lovely, the samosa and sweets, and we do our thing and come home. But actually, what I learned was amazing now, because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to stand in the gurdwara and do the ardas with everybody and feel as part of that community now. And the things that I learned in the background, I only value now. So thank you for bringing that with your children along as well. Right. The final question is going to be the segue into our premiere of the music video, which is so exciting. The final video is about your experiences being part of the shoot. Like, what was it like to be in the front of the camera? And obviously a new experience for you, being told what to do. Okay, can we do this about 100 times? And doing the same walk 100 times in the freezing cold was never a fun thing. But you understand now that being a star isn't all glitz and glamour. It can be very, very hard. So so there was that experience, but also there was certain elements that you may have saw for the first time. So being part of a star, but also seeing maybe the dancer. So Ashni, who's not able to join us today, we had a dancer who interpreted all of the lyrics, the music in her own way, and then illustrated it through dance moves. So what are your reflections about, the dance choreography and maybe your experience as a participant or an artist in front of the camera?
Sure, yeah. Ashni's choreography was really beautiful, as you're going to see in the film. I wasn't there for that day of filming, but I was there the previous day.
Sure.
The windy day. It was
iconic.
Yeah.
Infamous windy day.
It was so cold. The A string on my violin froze up.
The A string on his violin froze up. That's how cold it was.
And I remember having to walk from one side of the Bregate Park to the other. It was only a few steps.
We were meant to do that a lot.
We hit 20 times, I think.
It was literally a walk. That's all you had to do, a walk.
Yeah.
But many, many times.
Yeah. In fairness, I did burst out in giggles a couple times.
That's nice.
But yeah, it was a really nice day just to come together and be in nature and put it out into the world. That was really good. That's the
I want to say two parts first, because I think just the music making was an experience for me, because I'd all the sounds of jeera and rolling down the chapatis and stirring the tea and all of that was like, we're making this. How is this going to make a music?
She's like, what is this guy doing? Why is he making us do silly things?
and just to bring that together, I just thought that was amazing. I still cannot get over that you can make such good music from just everyday sound, And I think, and I'll speak on behalf of Kerrit as well, because he was sort of saying that he really enjoyed. He's into music anyway, so he really, really enjoyed that music, and he was like. The next day workshop, his backpack, which always had a water and his tablets and things, because he wasn't very well. So he had all of those things. But that day, his bag was a little bit heavy, and I was thinking, what have you got in this bag? And he said, you'll see. He didn't say anything. Come in the workshop, and he takes out his flute, he takes out his mouth organ, he takes out his damrus, he takes out his jazz, patars, all of those things. Percussions, everything was just coming with a triangle. And I thought, all of those things, he was well into this making music, and he was so excited that day we got a ticket, parking ticket.
It was worth it though.
That's exactly his words. He says, oh, it's worth it. And I've actually written down his words. Let me read it. He said something like, I can't remember now. Yeah, nothing can dampen the exhilaration that I got from the workshop. So that is just nothing kind of thing. And I was like surprised, because anytime we got a ticket, he was just saying, why did you not look at that? You come up with all of those things. He never did that. And that's what he came out with. Just something, So I had to say that.
I really appreciate you sharing that. It's a lovely, lovely thing to share. Something that we never knew about, and it's just nice to uncover these uncover these impacts, little bits of impact. And with Kinatan Golasi brought in like probably the kitchen, everything and the kitchen sink. Like I was like, no, we have to use every single instrument. So I was like, okay, let's do this one first. Okay, now this one. I was like, but we managed to get all of the percussion like sampled, and it was our lead session musician was good.
He was into his element. He was so excited. He was so happy. I think it was one of his happiest days. I have to say that. And I remember he was saying, well, then later on we will just get on with the action and see we can do something else.
Of course, yes.
We will find the way. Obviously, God didn't want that to happen, so it's gonna. But shooting day was the day before the shooting. He was not very well, and I wasn't very sure whether we were going to come or not. And he says, no, we're going. And I was so not too sure, but we went. We came up, and he says, oh, just get dressed up nicely. We'll go and take nice pictures. It was so cold. It was so cold. So I was here in my nice pajamas suit, and I was saying, no way, am I just going to put my coat on and sweater on, because it was so cold.
Yeah, you had the coat on, didn't you?
I did. So the shooting or no shooting, I had to have that. But I think as you said, how many times you have to take those takes and retake, and I'm shivering and I'm writing those things down. And I think even for Kerry, when you said, well, let's climb that mountain now. And I was kind of worried because he was having breathing problems. So it's thinking like climbing up, is he going to do it or not? And I said, I think he's not going to do it. Remember I said this.
You said that, yeah.
And he says, no, that's not good. That will do it, will do it. And he just went up and did his shooting, and that was so nice.
He did it amazingly.
So yeah, it's like it's memorable days. It's I think it was really nice to have done all of that. And it's a memory that is there forever now.
I'm so glad it had that impact, and it's going to stay with you for a longer time, because it's never just about the day itself, is it? It's about the impact afterwards and how that does become a memory in your mind. Yeah, of course. Yeah. Thank you so much. So Ushanti, do we have any reflections on the process of you came in glamorous, everybody was turning heads, and you came in with all of your toolkit, like that was beautiful. Like you were selling items on in the bazaar or whatever.
It was a lovely day, but it was still cold. I got a pair of trainers. Every time there was shooting, I had to change into slippers.
Hair and makeup and everything.
And then take the shawl off.
Yeah.
It was an amazing experience. Really, the way I've written, I think the project, I think I'll read out. I'm so proud of having been part of the project. That it's given me a different approach to telling a story. I've already written quite a few stories of my life journey for my grandchildren, and they are yet to receive them, and will continue to add to them. Like any grandmother, I also love reciting stories to my family. I hope these written stories will ensure that they all have memories of their grandmother to reflect on when they grow up. I wish to make them proud of their rich cultural heritage, and hopefully they can pass this on to their children too. This project, however, provides a very different medium for storytelling through film and music, an approach that I wouldn't have ever thought was possible before. Also, the approach that Mixtape Memories have taken in terms of using social media means that these stories are more accessible for a lot more people across different generations. And that's.
Thank you. I think that was really well put. Really well put.
And the rest I've written throughout lockdown. We all had to climb, and how it changed. There was a question: has the creative process helped you to express your identity?
Yes.
And for that, I have written the answer. Throughout lockdown, we all had to climb our own mountains. For me, I could have been locked away in my house on my own. I was lucky to have joined a group that helped me to overcome my own lockdown mountain. It helped me to connect, make friends, tap into my creativity, and try so many new things, such as creative writing, which led me to write this poem, Unexpected Mountains. Using media in a different way has been an opportunity to expand on my talents, skills, and creativities, which I had within me. It made me realize I can do anything at the age of 79 years if I put my mind to it. Hopefully, it can be an inspiration to others. Maybe I'll move into having my own TikTok account.
You got
problem. I've got where's my lovely granddaughter and my grandson. I mean, they can train me like that.
I love that. I love
Any
that.
problems? Approach him.
Yeah.
They help me, you know.
Your grandma is legendary.
So.
Oh, thank you.
Something about Ashley's how.
Yeah, about the dance. Yeah, do share it. You've prepared something beautiful. So what did you find? So this was in response to the dance. So you're about to see a dance as well, and the choreography, wasn't it? So this is a response to that. Yeah, go for it.
And watching Ashley's dance evoked feelings of freedom, having the confidence to tell a story through a very different medium such as dance. I have grown up watching traditional dance over the many years, and Ashley's dance reminds me of how we can mix traditional cultures and new mediums such as the music made by Mixtape Memories. It demonstrates how traditions can evolve and merge with newer traditions. That's how I predicted mine.
Love that, and it was very much reminiscent of classical.
It was, yeah.
Almost Kathak classical dancing type vibes is what you're gonna witness. So that's what Shanti is referring to there.
And you kept on telling us not to pick, but we did.
Yeah,
naughty children.
So we're doing some very wide shots, so like drone shots, which require a lot of landscape. And these guys are just like geeky, like their faces just in the shot. We didn't want them in the shot at that point. And they were very eager, however. Yeah, we appreciate it.
And she was the main culprit.
All right, let's go on to Indie Benji. So talk to us about you being on the shoot and feeling that glamorous and doing what you did. So talk to us about that.
It was my Bollywood moment. Closest I'm going to get, in all honesty. So I made the most of it. I loved it. I probably annoyed Rob to, he's probably like, you've got this woman, But I absolutely loved it. And I loved that you were open to the ideas that I had. I said, I fancy doing this. What do you think to this? And you were like, yeah, that's cool. You were just, whether you just like, just shut up. Yeah,
no, never.
We appreciated your vision.
Two way.
Yeah. But I loved it, and it just made me feel so special and nice and Bollywood. And then Ashni, I always kept bless her. I always get her name.
That's it.
Ashni. I call it Ashni. Yeah, it is
Ashni.
Ashni.
I think Ashni, she's just so elegant and graceful, and with her moves, and it was just so effortless. And just sort of touching on what's already been said, she was to me it represented freedom, but she's doing it in the UK, but keeping the tradition of the Indian dance in Leicester, in Oadby, Botanical Gardens. Like, I can do my thing here, nice. And it was she was wonderful. She's beautiful, and I love that she actually does the Mathadik, because it was something that I kind of saw Dad do on quite a lot of occasions, just to kind of give thanks of where he is and to appreciate Mother Earth. So he'd do it sat at home sometimes, That's what he'd kind of do, saying I'm grateful for what I've got. And I think seeing Ashni do that, it was beautiful. It was really touching.
I think I definitely second that as well. Seeing the month update for me was like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course. Like, we need to capture that. We need to show, how rich the culture is in terms of giving appreciation, as you said, to wherever you
Mother
are.
Earth,
Botanical Gardens, Mother Earth is everywhere. They call it Pachamama in other countries, South America. We call it Mother Nature here. In Punjabi, we call it...
Was it Madhati? Tati Mata.
There you go. So we all have our different way of saying it, but dance is just, it communicates in without words, it's just a lovely thing that we did shoot that, we did get it on camera, and you will see it. Right, guys, I'm so sorry we've gone quite over because I just wanted to really hear everything you had to hear, had to say, and you had some amazing points, and really shows the impact of the project. So we're gonna, we're just gonna do it now. We're gonna show what this is all about. And we are, after seeing the film, we've got loads and plenty of time to just kind of talk to each other, and we're still going to be about. I'm sorry if there are any things that you've missed out. Is there anything that you wanted to say that? Yeah, please, let's use this other opportunity. Yeah, please.
Just want to say thank you to everybody for having me, and I really enjoyed the project, and it went beyond my expectations. I just kind of thought, oh, let's do this thing, as you do, and I think it's only now it's had that ripple effect that I've really appreciated what it was, what this project really was, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for having me a part of that.
I would like to say as well that I think it was soon after the lockdown, so just meeting with real people and not on the Zoom was something as well. So yes, the ripple effect of this project in itself, and I'd worked with you ahead before on another project as well. Yeah. So it was like, this is a special project because it was more about us. I mean, the project which we did was more about Leicester, whilst this one was more about us and our memories and our things. And I think because we met up as people, I think it made it more real. And I think just that little bit, I know we had the spaced out and we had gone through all the COVID rules and regulations, but even then, just meeting and working together, that was quite something. And I want to say that, and also thank you all for doing what you have done.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Like, honestly, your stories are so valuable for us. It's so refreshing to have, that take on this topic from yourselves and your personal memories. So thank you. Anyone else want to add anything before we start the film? Is that all good?
No,
happy?
Good. Yeah.
Lovely. All right, let's do this then.
Thank you all.
You know what? We'll do a big thank you at the end, and we're going to thank you again, and we'll thank everybody at the end. So thank you. Yeah. Yes. Hello, everyone at home. We are streaming on YouTube. Hello, people. All right, let's get into it. What I'm going to say is, you guys find your seats so you got a good view. While they go back to their seats, let's make a massive round of applause for our artists. Thank you so much for all of your sharing there. I know it can be a bit weird. Everybody's looking at you and we're asking you questions. It's a bit of a grilling, but you handled that really well. So thank you so much for that. And thank you, audience, for listening and being so respectful. Really appreciate you being patient and listening to what we have to say, what our artists have to say. So we're about to introduce the main event. This is the sharing. This is the music video we've been blabbering on about all day. Let's just see it. All right, it's time for you to see it. This is Unexpected Mountains with our beautiful artists in there. You will hear their voice, you will hear the track that we've created. Listen out for the sounds. In the beginning, it's more obvious, the sounds of Dina, the rolling, etc., what you saw in the video. And then take in the lyrics, take in the environment, and just appreciate what's been created. So with no further ado, let's go straight into Unexpected Mountains.
Sometimes life throws you a curveball, unexpected mountains that you knew existed, but never did you think you would have to climb at such a young age. Survival can be found in the strangest of places. Flexibility, pliability, plasticity. My resilience helped me to adjust with time. My traditional culture upbringing gave me the strength and focus to get through life's unexpected challenges.
Memories, core memories, all those memories of displacement. Back, hurriedly packing the bags, making choices between needs and sentimental belongings. A bag filled with uncertainty. Uprooting from the land called home, putting the first foot forward. Step on the land paved with gold.
She was the land and the land was her. The day she could know would come was here. What was a possibility must now become a reality. Pistachio, cardamom, and a spoonful of honey. Expensive ingredients, but a worthwhile investment. Dawn was breaking fast, dissipating the heavy mist that had crawled up from the soil field.
I am the man of resilience. I move from place to place. I adjust from hot to cold like the sun in permanent eclipse. My roots are deep. My spirit is free to enjoy the life now.
The most invaluable possession one took was the mother tongue. Across the ocean to pastures new, my roots always connecting me to souls from my soil, embracing new lands and ways of life. I'm free in the limitless sky. My mother tongue is always with me. माँ बोली हमेशा मेरे नाल.
In the rap competition, it's all a madness. Two communities over breaking into sadness. All this bit of tension. At the vagabond, no 1080p. Old school tape recorder. Old school with the beat. Tequila vibes. Bang a little gun in our yo. Watch me describe. Gina gun sizzling. In the pots and pans. Repping our heritage. In every way that we can.
Thank you so much for that beautiful applause and for taking that in. So, yeah, just let the dust settle on that. It's pretty impressive stuff, and the way it's being put together, the way you all come across. I'm talking directly to you guys, our beautiful artists. You came across so well on screen, and when I was sitting with Rob, who can we just get a massive round of applause for Rob? So I brought Rob in from Render Films, and me and Rob worked really closely together on many different projects. But we had the artists, we had what they do, what they love to do, whether it was painting, whether it was knitting, or sorry, is it crochet or knitting? Knitting. And then whatever that was, whether it was playing an instrument, whether it was writing, we wanted to capture that essence of what they do best. Indy loved to take in the Bollywood, the feel, and that's what you were all about. And so we wanted to make sure that the essence of each individual participant/artist came through on our film. So yeah, did you like it?
That was brilliantly done.
Thank
I think you have done a very good job. You and Rob and the team have worked very hard. So yes, we were the participants, but without you guys, that couldn't have happened.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Does anybody want to add anything from watching that film? Does anybody have anything they'd like to share as an audience member, maybe not seen it before?
It was absolutely wonderful, and everything that I've sort of been listening to today, and actually to feel like a participant. By the way, I'm from Chandler Arts as well.
For sure. Cool.
I just want to say, my background's education, and I want this to go to head teachers' conferences and let them hear about how performance arts and arts in education are just so central to what we are as human beings. So if you can get this out to heads conferences at Bowman Hall or wherever they have them, I think for the wonderful constituents of this video to talk about the experience, to say what you did, to show this, because I think every single teacher of performing arts and music particularly, and creative writing, which is my bent, should hear this. It's got to reach a much bigger audience.
That's a fantastic idea, and I feel like you're talking about application of where it can go next. I work for Leicestershire Schools Music Service, so that could be organised very easily. Yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for that kind of strategic way of developing it forward as well. So I think that's really important. Thank you. What's your name? Sorry.
Gabriella Mattioli.
Gabriella, thank you so much for that. Thank you for coming as well. Does anybody have anything to say from the family? This is Oshanti's family.
I'd say this medium of getting history across is back to what Mum was saying in terms of conveying that to the younger generation. That's an easier way to do it, right? That's to get that sort of memory across. So I think more memorable, you can spread it easier. So it's a brilliant project.
Fantastic, thank you so much. Thank you. And you are Oshanti's son in the room. Thank you so much for bringing the whole family across today as well. Auntie, did you have anything to add? Because I know you were there on the suit, and I know yourself, you were there on the suit. So perspectives from seeing it in, behind the scenes, being there, and now seeing the final act, and what this.
It's wonderful. Because like you said, I was there at the Post-Colonial.
Yes.
And I saw filming and everything. I spoke to your other artists, the people involved there as well. Yeah. And then to actually see it now, in the video, the final thing is absolutely brilliant. So I think thanks go to everyone involved in this project. It is wonderful.
Thank you so much for sharing. And seeing your mom behind the scenes and what you had to go through, and then seeing the final film. It was a cold day. I mean, that's the general consensus, isn't it? It was a cold day.
It's kind of interesting to watch how you kind of all, I kind of came towards the end, but the way you sort of put it all together. And I know we kind of saw a snippet of, not the final video, but saw a snippet of it. It was quite emotional.
Yes.
And watched it with my son and my partner, and we're all kind of flooding, it's like, oh God. But it's really emotional, and it's nice to hear that. It's nice to hear their stories, because they never tell you.
Oh, yeah.
They don't tell you, and it's like you say, you lose that. We've lost quite a lot of that through, our grandmothers. They've never spoken about it. In that history, you want to know it. You want to know it for the next generation.
Most definitely.
And these guys can kind of promote a little bit of that. But like you say, it's like Brother said, the medium of music helps it as well.
Most definitely. Thank you.
It's kind of a bit more of it's not, you're not listening to somebody telling a story. It's kind of, you remember it.
It's repackaged, isn't it? Repackaged in a bit more of a contemporary fashion. Yeah. I think we can all. I appreciate that. I think we can all agree that this kind of method of sharing across the heritage across generations is a good one, and maybe we should do more of it. So thank you to everybody for making this happen and for having the ideas and the concept of the whole thing. I know, Jasmine, you were thinking about a playlist and making that happen at the start, and then we have it. Now we have it, and we have the project. So amazing work from everybody. We're going to move forward, and we're going to take time to really. Yes.
All of the fantastic and all the team, very good job.
Thank you so much. You get a round of applause for everybody. So we're going to take this moment to really appreciate all of the artists, and I mean all of the artists. So of course we have our artists, our core team here that we're here today. We have the artists that were on the digital platform who, again, can't be here today. We've got the dancer, Ashni, we've got everybody behind the scenes, but we've also got a gem of a person who sadly isn't with us anymore, and has passed, and that is Gidit uncle. Now, Gidit, you've heard a lot about from Hansalti, was an absolute, just like it's hard to describe because it was so, had such a big personality, such a positive aura, such a sometimes tongue-in-cheek, and always has something to say, always had something to say about the topic and his own spin on something. And it was such a pleasure to just work with Gidit uncle and to have his point of view and his perspective, because it actually had so much to say on the topic. So we created a small tribute edit for Gidit uncle. It's very short, but I just wanted to give him a moment to really appreciate him and everything he stood for. So could we just play that a little second?
My name is Kiran Jaiswal. I'm born in Kolkata, in India, and coming this country at 68. I am the man of decision. I move from place to place. I adjust from hot to cold, cold like the sun in permanent eclipse. My roots are deep, deep, deep. My spirit is free, free, free to enjoy the life now. But I still believe in a human being. Is a good human always survive to any situation, provided they understand themselves first.
I'm sure if Gidit uncle could see the final piece and be here today, he'd have a lot to say and a lot to share as well. And all I can say is thank you for dragging him along and making him come. He had so much to say, he added so much to it, and I'm so glad that I was able to work with him. So thank you.
And he was very impressed with you, and he really, really liked you and the way you produced the music. I know that day when we went home, he was just talking about that all the time. And he making music, and he was a poet. So he used to write a lot of poems. I'm just finding his poems as I'm cleaning the house now, from nooks and crannies, really, because he used to just write whenever he felt like. He would scribble on the back of an envelope or anywhere.
Yeah.
And I think you made him very happy. Just so that making that exhilaration, as he said, was just something.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. So such a great amount of inspiration from today from all of our participants, including Gidit uncle. I believe, do we have time to do the sharing of pieces? I know we're crazily behind schedule. Should we break into? So it's an option here. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do is, unfortunately, we have run behind schedule just due to our conversations kind of being so in depth and wanted to cover a lot of ground there, and of course sharing many different videos there. So what we're going to do is go straight into refreshments. That's cool. Is that all right with our participants and our artists? Is that okay? Yeah. We go straight into food, into samosa and jalebis. So thank you so much for having the patience.
Can I just ask as well?
Yes.
There were some feedback forms here and some pens. So just while we're eating and chatting, if you've got a couple of minutes just to write a few things down about the reflections of what you've seen today, that would be very warm. So, yeah.
Amazing. All right, and therein ends this section of our sharing. Help yourselves to refreshments, samosa, jalebis at the back. So yeah, final thank you. I've been Akshay, Shay, Mr. Shay, Hopefully that doesn't make you feel too old, Mr. J. And our participants have been absolutely amazing. Our staff team has been impeccable for, you know, just even putting this on here today and allowing us to share in a lovely environment, and you've been so respectful and so responsive. So thanks for that. So massive final round of applause for everybody involved.